out of every period of adversity, there is opportunity that pulls us out. And I think that's where, I like to focus is not to ignore the adversity, but to recognize that the path out has to be through opportunity.
Yes. This is Ann Donnelly, your host of Building Success Stories. In this episode, my guest is Carrie Woerner, New York State Assemblywoman. She's a business leader turned legislator who understands P&L, job creation, and the regulatory friction that small businesses face. Before Albany, she built a 30-year career in software and technical writing, working for giants like IBM and Perot Systems. She holds an undergraduate degree from Carnegie Mellon and an MBA from Santa Clara University. She was the VP and general manager of MeetMax Conference Software. In 2008, she strategically established their software division in Saratoga Springs, directly creating high-quality tech jobs in the county. She's one of the most productive members of the New York State Assembly. Since taking office in 2015, she has passed 85 bills, with 65 signed into law. She's the chair of the Racing and Wagering Committee, a massive economic driver for Saratoga, and sits on the Agriculture, Local Governments, and Tourism Arts Committees. She just secured a critical 5-year delay on the electric school bus mandate to save rural districts from unsustainable costs, fought for energy rebate checks, and secured direct arts funding for the Glens Falls Symphony and Opera Saratoga. Sit back, relax, and enjoy my conversation with New York State Assemblywoman Carrie Woerner. We're here today at Adirondack Technology Solutions, who I partner with to use their conference room space to do interviews, and it's such a great space here in Moreau Commons.
It absolutely is, and
isn't it?
And a terrific business as well.
Yes, it's wonderful how this has become like a hub for business here in Moreau.
I know, and what a terrific use of the long abandoned Suzuki dealership to have all of these businesses co-located here.
Absolutely. So, Carrie, one of the reasons I wanted to meet with you is because I've been living in this area for a little over 8 years. I was in Europe for a while, and then I moved back to the area. I'm originally from Gloversville.
Ah, nice.
So I was seeing you at a lot of the community events that I was attending. My daughter went to South Glens Falls High School, so you were at the marathon.
Many years at the marathon, yes.
So as our assemblywoman here, you're really great at supporting all the local events, all the local organizations. So I really wanted to speak with you more. But as I got to know more about you and your business past, we have a lot more in common than I realized, because we're about the same age.
Yes, I assume so, yes.
Yes, and you went to Carnegie Mellon.
I did.
And you studied information technology.
I actually studied professional writing.
Oh, professional writing.
Yes.
So even more in common, because writing was always my thing.
Yeah, and then I went on to be a technical writer at IBM, which is how I started my career.
Okay, so that's great. So you were at IBM for a while. Was that in New York?
No, in California.
Oh, in California.
Yeah, I went to school I went to high school in Arizona, and then college in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and where it was cold and gray.
Okay.
And they had offered me a job in North Carolina, but then they'd also offered me an opportunity to come out and do an interview with IBM in San Jose, California.
Okay.
And it was January, and it was so cold in Pittsburgh that the car wouldn't even start.
Right.
And I get off the plane in San Jose, and it's 65 degrees. And I tell you, Ann, I probably would have been the janitor, because I fell in love with California from the minute I got there. And I was there for 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was sort of the really exciting early days of Silicon Valley out there. So you were really involved in a lot of that.
Yeah. IBM was a little bit outside of the Silicon Valley corridor at that point.
Because it was established, big corporate. It's kind of like what people look at as what is the traditional corporate America.
Right.
IBM.
And I've always thought that my experience starting my career in a big company has been really helpful to me along the way.
Yeah.
because learning how to work inside of a large organization it teaches you some fundamental things that are good to put into other contexts.
Yeah.
So I've always been very grateful for the start I got at IBM.
Yeah, and that's great. It's a great solid base.
Yeah.
And it's good to have on your resume. And then you had another sort of technical position after that. Did you move to Texas to work? Or was it Perot?
Perot Systems Corporation.
Yeah.
They were headquartered in Texas, yes, in Dallas, but they had started a marketing group in Connecticut, actually. And I, at that point, I had left California and transferred with IBM to New York State.
Okay.
And my boss got recruited by Perot Systems to run this marketing group, and she asked me to follow her, so I did.
Oh, okay.
And from there, we did this was mid-'90s, so the internet was really just getting started.
Yep.
E-commerce was a new word. Nobody knew what it meant. And so we started an internet services group within Perot Systems, and I stayed with that for another 5 years or so, eventually moving up to Boston to be closer to that group.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were getting into Northeast again.
Yes.
And so how did you end up in Saratoga?
That group at Perot Systems did really well until the tech bubble burst at the beginning of the 2000s.
Yep, I was there for that kind of thing.
Yes, and so I was in the early wave of layoffs at that point, and so I got a really good severance package.
Okay.
And so I was taking some time to kind of figure out what I wanted to do with my next chapter. At that point, I'd been in technology for a long time and sort of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was doing some consulting, I was doing some teaching, some volunteer work, and my mom had moved to Saratoga when she retired.
So that was the connection.
Yeah, and she was having a little surgery. She said, "Hey, can you come out and stay with me for a few weeks?" So I did, and as we were sort of finishing our time together that visit, she said, "You really should think about getting a job here." And so I was like, maybe. And I went through the want ads and found an ad for the Saratoga Springs Preservation Foundation. They were looking for an executive director. And kind of on a whim, I applied for it. And against, sort of against type, they decided that they liked me and they wanted to hire me. So I started a new chapter.
In the nonprofit world, but you were able to use, like I also see, I was in corporate America for a while too, use all those skills that you built for the nonprofit sector.
Exactly.
And how long were you doing that?
From 2002 to the beginning of 2008. And by the time I got close to 2008, I was sort of thought, I really need to go back to earning some real money.
Yeah, because that is the issue with nonprofit.
Right, exactly. And I was really fortunate. A friend of mine a friend of my family's owns a business in New York City called the Wall Street Transcript. And he wanted to start a software business as part of that and asked me if I would be willing to do that. And I said, well, as long as I can do it in Saratoga Springs, I'm in.
So it's MeetMax?
MeetMax conference software.
So you brought MeetMax to Saratoga. So
Yes.
that's great. And you were instrumental in setting that up for them.
Yeah. And I ran it for till 2014, which is when I ran. Well, I won my election in 2014. Yeah. And they're still operating today.
Yeah, that's great. So you had done some civic work. Were you a trustee?
Yeah. So I live in the village of Round Lake.
Yes.
Small village. We have about 600 households, and the village board. So it has its own municipal government. They're always looking for people to run for office because they need a quorum, and So I ran into the mayor in the post office one day, and she said, "Hey, we need somebody to run for the village board. Can you do it?" I said, "Well, what would be involved with that?" And she said, "Here's a petition, get 25 signatures, and you're on the ballot." And so I did, and I was.
So was that your first elected position?
Yes. Other than, the student council in high school.
Okay. Well, that's a start.
Yep.
That's a start. So you did that, and then you decided that this was something you wanted to make a career out of. So what year was it that you first ran for the assembly?
2012. And I being on a local municipal board, one of the things I realized is how much local government depends on having a good partner in state government. And the state assembly, which has been since the, I think, late 70s, the majority conference are Democrats. I recognized that our Republican representative wasn't going to be able to provide the level of support that we needed. And so after talking about it a long time, some friends said, just do it, just try it. And so I did.
So you were able to blend the nonprofit that you had done, so you had experience from all these different sectors.
Yes.
And the local government.
Right.
And you brought it to the New York State Assembly.
Yes.
So how big is your district?
It's 135,000 people. Almost all of the assembly districts are about that, within 3 or 4% of each other. And it runs from the city of Mechanicville in the south, all the way up the western side of the Hudson River to the city of Glens Falls.
Okay.
And includes Saratoga Springs and Wilton. So think of it as sort of
Does
a
it
half of a
include
triangle.
Glens Falls, or are you just this side of the bridge?
It includes Glens Falls.
Oh, it includes Glens Falls.
And then on the eastern side of the Hudson River, Greenwich, Fort Edward, and the village of Hudson Falls.
Okay. So that's a good district and a number of counties. So I don't know if that's an issue.
3 different counties. And one of the things that I like is the variety within the district. So agriculture is still probably the largest industry in certainly Washington County and Saratoga County. Tourism is a huge component of Saratoga County and Warren County.
Yeah.
We have 3 small cities, so Mechanicville, which is New York's smallest city, Saratoga Springs and Glens Falls, which are both anchors in their 2 counties. And then lots of suburban and rural communities. And so the mix of communities I find very interesting. And as I've gotten to know it over the years, the role that they play in supporting each other is really valuable.
Yeah.
So much of Warren County and Washington County share a lot of services, as small counties do. So there's a lot of sharing of services there. Saratoga County is a good market for products produced in Washington County.
Yeah.
So they are all kind of interconnected. And then we now have a burgeoning tech corridor, really from Albany with New York Creates and then SUNY Nano College up to Global Foundries in
so that's
Malta.
a big business in your district.
And now it's going to extend down into the Mohawk Valley with Micron. And so the employment base for technology workers is growing in our part of the state, and that's driving a lot of economic activity. So it's just, and that's impacting Glens Falls, it's impacting Washington County. So there's just this great sort of economic engine growing out of our region, and I think it's fun to be part of it.
Yeah. What do you think are the biggest challenges we have in this district?
I would say the 2 biggest challenges we have are a lack of housing and very specific kind of housing. So we don't have enough of the sort of, I call them starter homes.
Yeah.
The 1,500 square foot house on a small lot that is at a price point that a young couple can afford as their starter home, or that a downsizing couple can purchase into. And that means that young people are staying in apartments longer than prior generations have, which is driving up the cost of apartments. So a lot of communities are building more apartments, which is terrific, but because increasing that supply will lower the rent as well, or at least stabilize the rent. But we really need these single family starter homes.
Yeah.
And those could be townhouses, they could be condominiums, they could be freestanding houses, but we need it in that price point so that people can move into home ownership.
Yeah.
So we need that. We also need workforce development. So many businesses, large and small, are struggling to find people to fill critical positions. And we see this in the healthcare sector as well as private industry, small businesses, large businesses. So workforce development is something that I spend a lot of time on, and is really a big challenge for us. As our businesses are successful and growing, they need a workforce to keep them going. So those are the two things that are the big challenges.
For workforce development, do you think it's just we need more people here, or we need training for people that maybe don't have those specific skills, or both? I
think we could start with, and really where I start with is the training aspect of this. So I supported a program at the community colleges beginning, we started it I think last year, for people between the ages of 25 and 55 who want to go back to school to upskill, to, maybe they're stuck in a job that's not working for them, and they want to get into a position that can garner higher wages, a better paycheck, and offer opportunities for growth, but they don't have the credential. So whether that's a certificate or a 2-year associate's degree, they can now go back to school, and the state will pick up the cost, not just of the tuition, but also the fees and the books. So
that adds up.
Because that adds up, really. I mean, honestly, the books and the fees can be a third of the cost. So this makes it possible for somebody who is working hard and working full time and can't afford school to be able to afford school. And then it's just a question of being able to budget their time to make it happen. So that has taken off like gangbusters.
Has there been a good uptake in it?
Really good uptake in that.
That's good to know.
So that's been terrific. We have, there was a waiting list at BOCES because BOCES couldn't staff enough teacher positions to be able to offer classes for as many kids as wanted career and technical education. So a couple of years ago, after many years of trying, we were able to increase the aidable portion of teachers' salaries in BOCES, and that meant that they could hire more teachers. So our BOCES CTE program is growing, and that is, they cover 6 counties. So that's a really strong sign. And then I've been really working with the Northeast Regional Building Trades Workforce Coalition. I'm getting the name.
Is that the one that's doing training?
Yes. And they're starting in the schools. So they've got programs for the littles all the way through high school. And this summer we had our 3rd year of the girls' construction camp.
I saw that. I said, I wish that I could go.
Right? I know.
I wanted to go to that.
So many adult women have said the same thing to me. But we offer this to the girls in middle school before the world tells them they can't do that. And get them excited and interested and seeing the possibility of a career in the trades working for them. And really what we know about the building trades are they offer an earn and learn model through apprenticeships, and that they can, in many of the fields, the young people start at $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year as an apprentice. So it is truly a path to a great middle class career and above. And so we want to try and encourage as many young people, and it has traditionally been appealing to young men. So there's a ton of opportunity. I think only 9% of the positions in the building trades are filled by women. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunity there. And so I'm hopeful that that some percentage of these young middle school girls are going to go on to the CTE program and then into a career in the building trades.
We probably need to support that further, even with support as they move on. And I think it's more in perceptions of things. Like what they should see more of this on social media. Maybe that's something I should start working on.
You can't be what you can't see. And so the more we can highlight the women who are working in the trades.
Yeah.
I did a panel discussion a few years ago. I put together a panel discussion with women who are working in all of the trades. So we had an iron worker, so a woman who is up on the high iron, and she was so cool, and a carpenter, and somebody who does heavy machinery, and an electrician, and a pipe fitter, and they all talked about their career path. And for many of them, it was a second career choice. So they had done something first and decided that was not for them. They'd gone to college and decided that whatever they studied wasn't as interesting as they thought. And then they went back and joined an apprentice program and pursued a career. So I wanted to make sure that I showed off to younger girls some role models. To see because you can't, as I said, you can't be what you can't see.
Perceptions are important.
Yes.
And so that they've got the support, and that people aren't like, oh, why do you want to do that? And,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the things that I have found really, really amazing is how supportive the parents are of these young women. They're really excited about it. They're really encouraging. And so that's also really helpful, is when the parents see the possibilities. So getting the guidance counselors to be aware of this and talking on parents' nights with parents is, I think, a really important thing as well.
So that's great. So there's jobs out there, and we're working on training people to take those jobs from the lower end of the age range to the higher end of the range.
Yes, indeed.
Age range. One challenge I find is once people hit 60, like you said, that SUNY Adirondack program, and well, is it all the community colleges? All the
community colleges, yes.
So ended at 55.
Yes.
And I said, but if you're older than 55, are you still eligible for that type of thing? And I find that it's harder to get employment, even though you still have many years to give. People are reluctant to hire people once they get to that age.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
And which is really unfortunate, because people who are 55 and up, as you say, have many more years of productive work in front of them, and they bring to the conversation a whole lifetime of experiences and wisdom. I have a number of women who work in my office who raised families and were ready to go back to work after their kids got out of school. And I tell you, the ability to multitask, to be empathic and insightful with a whole range of people is really so fundamental, because working in a legislative office is a lot about constituent service, and that skill set that they built over 18 to 20 years of raising a family is such a natural fit. So I agree with you that I think that's a gap that we should be looking at as well.
Yeah, and I know men also have this issue, but like you said, many women have taken time out, either part-time basis or full-time basis, to raise their families. And that does really affect your career path and your ability to earn a wage that might be equivalent to what your experience and skills are.
Absolutely. And the other piece of this is as the economy shifts, and some businesses don't survive, those employees, the business didn't survive, but the employees still have tons of skills and abilities and a desire to work. And we shouldn't just assume that because they worked in a business that is no longer relevant, that they can't find a path into really being leaders in the next company.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are concerned about the increased usage of AI that will be reducing jobs, but it's really a matter of really just shifting what those jobs are and what skills you need for those jobs.
Yeah, I remember a story my dad told me once. He was at the grocery store and decided to go through the self-checkout, and somebody in the line at the cash register, the next line over, made a snarky comment to him about, we shouldn't use those self-checkouts, that, it's getting rid of jobs. And my dad, who was an engineer, he said, wait a minute. I hear what you're saying, but somebody built this machine. Somebody had to bring it here. Somebody had to install it. Somebody has to maintain it. There are jobs that are being supported by these machines. They're just not the same jobs.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that's really important for us all to remember is that, yes, AI is going to displace some jobs. But there are other jobs that are created as a result of that. And the important thing is to sort of be on the lookout for that and to adapt your skill set to those jobs. And it's important for the businesses also to be investing in training their workforce to maximize the value of AI, good AI, without causing disruptions in the workforce.
Absolutely. And one of the things about the grocery stores, because I have this conversation frequently, because I like to self-checkout. I was a checkout in college. That was one of my jobs. I worked at a grocery store. But they're having trouble finding people to do those jobs, too. So, I don't think we're displacing. Nobody's not getting a job at Hannaford because people are using self-checkout. So, I think that's a reality of it, too.
I think that is true. That for the as we invest in upskilling people to take the skilled labor jobs, there's fewer and fewer people to take the unskilled jobs. Not that it doesn't take skill to run a cash register.
It's just a different kind. It's
a different kind of skill. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in our economy, but it is shifting in terms of what the skill set is that is necessary.
Yeah. What are some supports that are out there for businesses to uptake new technologies like AI or to start up maybe? Because you're very savvy about startups yourself, being involved. What are some supports out there? Because a lot of my listeners are people that are starting up or solopreneurs that could use that support.
Yeah. So there certainly are some, through the Small Business Administration, a number of programs to support the small business owner, whether that is somebody just starting up or somebody that has been in business for a while and is looking to get to that next stage of growth. So I absolutely encourage anybody that's in that position to reach out to the Small Business Development Center, which is located at SUNY Albany.
Okay.
Because they have a wealth of resources.
I did a seed program with them.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a really good program.
Right.
There was a loan available at the end of it. I ended up not taking the loan, but that was instrumental for some other businesses that really needed that to get started.
Yes.
And we put together a business plan, and we got coached. And it also helped MBA students at SUNY Albany were mentoring us as well as the SBA staff.
And in addition to the SUNY MBA students, they also employ the SCORE resources. So those are retired executives that will be partnered with a business owner to develop that business plan, to coach them on how to seek funding, how to find investors, how to approach a bank for a working capital line of credit, or whatever the financial needs are. So I think that the SBDC should be your first stop.
Yeah, and most of that's free. A lot of what they are providing is for free too.
Absolutely. And then depending on what what the sector is that the business is in, there are other kinds of supports. And one of the ones around here that I really am excited about is the support that Cornell Cooperative Extension provides, Cornell University's Center of Excellence for Agriculture and Food. Those are excellent resources if you are developing a new food product for sale. So perhaps you've developed like the greatest hot sauce ever, but now you've been distributing it through local channels.
Yeah.
But now you're ready to actually turn it into a product. There are, food safety things you have to be aware of. There's packaging elements. You need to find a co-packer. And so that center of excellence is really helpful.
That's exciting. So how do people tap into that?
Well, through Cornell, and one of the things that I was able to get funded in the state budget a couple of years ago was an Eastern New York satellite of that, which is now located at the Ballston Spa Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Okay.
And if somebody reaches out to them, they will help with testing the product for food safety, helping them write their the plans that they have to have approved on how it's going to be packaged, developing a marketing plan, thinking about distribution and distribution outlets. So that's a great resource for people who are in the food products business.
Yeah. That's great, because that could be something big in this district because of all the agriculture.
Right.
Many of them are then looking at other revenue streams.
Yes.
Or you may just be a person that is a foodie and has come up with something
Exactly.
that they want to bring to market.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. We've got a lot of culinary schools. SUNY Adirondack has a culinary school. The BOCE CTE culinary program. So there's lots of chefs and bakers who might be, thinking about, can I take this in a retail direction?
Yeah.
We also have we've got the Hudson Valley Textile Project. So if you're in textiles, and whether that's you are on the production, the farm end of that, so sheep and sheep shearing. If you are trying to create a line of wool products or fabrics, the Hudson Valley Textile Project has resources to help you with that. So based on the sector.
And that's accessible to people that are up here too.
Absolutely.
Because I know that Washington County has their fiber tour with alpacas and things like that. And that's wonderful to do. I didn't realize there were so many interesting places in Washington County.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The fiber industry is growing. I wrote the New York Textile Act a few years ago to really bring focus to building out a supply chain for locally produced, sustainable textiles. And it's really helped. If the Washington County Fair opens this week, and the last 2 years there've been double. Every year we double the number of sheep producers that are at the fair, and that's just a sign that people are recognizing that there's a market for the wool product and investing in that. So there's
great to have New York State wool.
It is.
That's amazing.
It is great to have New York State. We used to be by used to be, I mean, like back in the 1800s, we were the number 2 wool producing state. We're down now, I don't know, 14, 15, something like that. But we have a lot of opportunity because there's 900 fashion houses that their headquarters is in New York City.
Yeah.
And all of them have designers and buyers that are thinking about how the market demand is changing. And one of the things that this next generation is looking for, they don't fast fashion that ends up in the landfill.
Yeah.
It's not all that interesting to them, but sustainably produced wool garments, they'd rather have one of those than 3 that end up in the landfill.
Right.
That sensitivity is really developing in that generation, and designers are seeing that and want to be responsive. So sourcing their wool from sustainable operations that are local is really impactful.
So that's a good kind of market for people to start thinking about.
Yeah, and Tencel. You might have a blouse or a jacket or something that's Tencel. So it's a fabric.
Yeah.
It feels sort of like a little bit like a silk. So it's a silky fabric, but it's made out of wood fiber.
Oh, okay.
So one of the things that, as we think about in the news last week, was that, or last couple of weeks, was that Finch was going to be buying pulp as opposed to buying logs to make their own pulp. And so our forest producers are thinking about, what's our market? Well, Tencel becomes an interesting opportunity for them to take the scrub trees that can't be converted to board to make furniture.
Yes.
And would have otherwise gone to a paper mill. to instead, let's see if we can't find a producer of tencel that will take those trees and turn it into a fabric.
That is very exciting because 2 weeks ago we discussed other things that they can do with this lumber. And he mentioned about the wood for building sustainable housing.
Right.
So this is another exciting thing is that there are other opportunities out there.
Yes.
So the outlook is good.
I'm generally speaking an optimistic person to begin with, and I think that in a time when we are feeling some financial challenges, that it's important to start to look at, sort of pick our heads up and look at, a broader set of opportunities, whether that's thinking about, okay, this is my opportunity to go back to school and get to get a certificate or a degree in something that I'm much more interested in and that's going to create more opportunity for me and my family.
Yeah.
Or maybe this is my time to start my own business and I don't want another job again. I want a business instead. I want to create something. So I think there is out of every period of adversity there is opportunity that pulls us out, and I think that's where I like to focus is not to ignore the adversity, but to recognize that the path out has to be through opportunity.
Yes. And challenges bring growth.
Yes.
And new opportunity, as you just said. So that's very exciting. So anything else? Like, when is your term up, your current term?
So I'm finishing the second year of the 2-year term.
Yes.
So running for re-election in the fall.
Running for re-election. I got some texts about it, as you do. So good luck with that.
Thank you so much, Anne.
Is there anything else coming up for you that you want to talk about?
So this week, of course, is the opening of the fair, but I started a few years ago. I started a women in horse racing working group.
Great.
Yes, and I'm meeting with them this week, just to kind of touch base on what's happening in the industry. And I chair the Assembly's Committee on Racing and Wagering.
That's right. Yeah.
And so there's touching base to see what's happening in the breeding industry, what's happening at the racetrack, what can we be doing better as at the height of the racing season, we're all pretty aware of how important that those races are to our local economy.
Yes.
But beyond that, the equine industry generally in Saratoga County and Washington County is really important. So thinking about what can we do to strengthen that, to grow it, is part of what I want to try and do this week with that group.
And more opportunities for women.
And more opportunities for women
as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Anne. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Building Success Stories, a production of the North Country Media Network. Our mission is to document the professional legacies and success stories that drive our region forward. To discover more shows in our network, or to learn how we can help you own the conversation in your industry, visit us online at northcountry.media. I'm Ann Donnelly, and until next time, keep building your success story.